Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your man, Coach Block, one half of TDS Radio. Auntie V showed up, told me I better not knock her ass out with this corner.
I was gonna say, I was like, don't do it.
Right.
I was gonna say, I'm sure y'all heard that.
No, I won't.
Yeah.
I won't. I'll make sure.
Don't make
There we
me
go.
like
Cool.
on like radio and have audio and visual.
No, we good. We good. I promise.
I mean, put a chokehold on you.
We good. I
my
promise.
goodness.
Right.
So make sure everybody make sure if y'all can't hear us, just tell me, because I know how y'all get sometimes when we move and adjust things. Everybody, I can't hear. Tell us you can't hear right now. But to my left, you have Auntie V.
Yes. the
You
healing
know.
consultant.
And when I was telling you guys about all the reprogramming that I've been doing, James Perkins, the guy who's responsible for Coach Block not being angry so much. So this guy gives me the tools, she gives me some tools, and we balance those two out to make sure I'm not at school like I'm gonna choke somebody.
Yes.
I feel it, but it's just like, you know what, not today. Not today. Makes it a little bit easy. So for those getting you caught up, last week we had just talked about opening up the tabs, and this week we are going to discuss like refresh and restore. So now that we've identified the tabs, now how do we restore ourselves after we've noticed that there's an issue or there's a problem? But first, I didn't know, did you want to do the messy letter?
We can go ahead, loosen, shake some things.
All right,
up.
let's do the messy letter.
All
So,
All right.
well, is James well aware of what the messy letter is?
Have I told you about the messy
I
letter?
don't know. I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the messy letter is usually when somebody writes in and they give us a relationship question. 10 times out of 10, they want to stay anonymous, but they ask us usually by the end. Sometimes there isn't, and we got to kind of decipher what the question is. But most of the time, there's some form of question at the end, and we answer it. But usually, they're pretty messy.
Yes.
So you guys are the professionals. So let's hear how you already got the tone. Yes. Let's So let's go ahead and knock it out. This is the messy letter.
Okay.
Here we go.
It says, I am a 42-year-old male, and I was dating a 41-year-old with 6 kids, all from different fathers. I was really in love with her, but I couldn't get with her. I couldn't get her to better herself more with the situation she was in. I moved in and was living there for 3 years. I took over the bills and just let her pay rent. Bills were pretty equal to what she paid for rent. Through the time I was there, I was also working to get my credit better than what it was. I wanted to help her get her credit right as well, because hers was kind of bad. In the beginning, she was working but lost her job. I helped get her another one. A year later, she hurt her foot and had to take time off. Doctor said she needs to let it heal for 8 weeks. It's now 16 weeks, and she's still out of work. I work full-time and a part-time job. I feel like she isn't making the effort to better herself with me so we could build and get a house. It's been frustrating. Am I wrong for wanting to leave her? She's not putting as much effort as she should.
I'm going to let the professionals dive in that first.
Yes. Yes. And what is so interesting is this is not uncommon. It's just that, thank you, brother, whoever you are, for actually reaching out.
For sharing.
Yeah.
Literally. Because one of the dynamics, you're not wrong for wanting to leave. What I see most often as a cause in this specific scenario is his empathy doesn't have any boundaries. So when your empathy...
I know. I know.
Oh, wait, hold on. I got you.
Yeah, that's terrible, sad thing. All right. Okay, let's roll
Mental
with
health
it.
expert
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So there's no boundaries on the empathy.
So when your empathy doesn't have any boundaries,
Mhm.
you set yourself up for abuse.
Mhm.
But and this is interesting, this scenario, if it's so obvious that she was, if she was unwilling to help, support, grow, and she was probably abusive to him, either physically or verbally, he would probably already made his decision. He probably want to sit in the letter. But because she most likely, to some degree, probably unconsciously shows up, and this is not a assessment of character, but just what I generally see as more victimized, that's probably his hook. And if you have come from a place, I'm actually no, I'm not gonna release that yet. No, I might be y'all special episode. I'm Lily okay. So I tangent. I'm actually putting together a list of kind of archetypes that men would be drawn to based on their early childhood wounds, like types of women that they're drawn to.
Okay.
And one of those individuals that a brother who may not have had a very nurturing, supportive upbringing, he's going to be most often drawn to a caretaker. And so she may be very nurturing, may not be very helpful as in getting job fixing credit, but she's probably going to affirm and pat him on the back. If she was probably more aggressive and assertive, like I said, he probably won't be asking this question in the first place. So you have to evaluate, hey man,
he's trapped.
Oh yeah,
because like if like you're saying, like if the home is taken care of and meals are on the table and all those other things, like you said, he's just going to keep rolling with it.
Making
Because
excuses.
she's serving a purpose.
Yep,
She's
because
fulfilling needs.
because that's the thing is that it's a weird attachment. He's getting his need met by earning her approval and affirmation by doing these things, and she's probably getting her need met by having someone support her, take care of the kids, not judge her. She has kids.
6 kids, different fathers.
She's tired.
6 kids
She's been doing this for a while. What's the truth?
and different fathers.
Yes.
6 kids, different
I
fathers.
mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's stepped in. He's, he's filled some holes for her too. She's filled some needs for him, and he has filled some needs for her. So no wonder she's sitting up there for 16 weeks. I mean, she's probably like
Milking it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I get a break.
Yeah.
You can't fault her for that.
Did he say the bills were in jeopardy or anything?
can-
He did
No.
not. He
So the
just
bills
wanted.
aren't in jeopardy.
No, the bills are not in jeopardy. He just had her doing the rent because the bills essentially were roughly around the same price as the rent, which I'm like, what type of bills or rent y'all got?
Yeah.
He did say, I feel like she isn't making the effort to better herself. So I don't know if it's not so much of like, oh, well, we're in jeopardy financially. It's just that you want more for her than what she wants for herself in this current moment.
Oh yeah, well then I agree with everybody else. On everybody else,
Yeah.
she's finally getting a break.
Yeah.
6 kids deep. Somebody's paying the other half of the bills. She's exhaling for right.
He sounds like he's bested a little bit to me. I mean, he
Oh,
feels
yeah.
bad. I mean,
Yeah.
he's like, look, I want more for you.
Right.
I want better for you.
Because that's what he wants to do. Because he wants the
Yes.
house. He's wanting to build his credit, so he's wanting to do the same thing for her, and almost kind of like that savior complex,
Yep.
And because she hurt her foot, now I don't know what hurt her foot means, broke it, sprained it, whatever, but the doctor did say it takes 8 weeks for it to heal, and that almost kind of sounds like some sort of surgery or something like that.
we can't comment. You know how people act. So first, hey Auntie V from Jazz,
Hey, boo.
and somebody said, "Run, brother, run." And
She's been waiting on this opportunity to become dependent. That's what Miss B was saying. Pack your
What's
stuff
on,
and the
Gage?
extra
What's on,
85
Oh,
points.
is-
What's going on, cuz?
Hey, boo.
You gotta watch where you
Yeah. They own you.
Right.
See
What a
you.
small world. Oh my
Right.
gosh. Gabe be cutting up with us.
Yeah, he
Mhm,
does.
mhm,
Pack
mhm.
your stuff and that extra
85 points you helped put on her credit score. She probably broke something 6 times.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We just don't know.
Right.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I don't know. I think it sounds like it's a little bit of a codependent relationship.
It
I mean,
is.
they're both,
Yeah.
it's a symbiotic relationship.
Right.
It seems like they're both getting something out of it. I think he wants more. He wants more
He just
for
wants
her.
more.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
He wants
'Cause he
wants
said-
better.
I'm really in. Well, he said I was, but if you're asking this question, you still have feelings. He said I was
Of
really in
course.
love with her.
Of course.
No,
He said-
you are.
Yeah, but I couldn't get her to better herself more with the situation she was in.
But does it say that he left? He hasn't left her.
He said, "Am I wrong for wanting to leave?"
I
No,
mean, no.
I
You
would
know?
definitely encourage him to explore what her dreams and desires are if he hadn't already, to
Mhm.
really see, what do you envision for us
Right.
for this next year, next 2 to 3 years.
Right.
This will give you some insight really into her perspective and where her mind frame is. And we have an eerie sense of picking up when people are being authentic. And so you better sense like, man, she's just saying something.
She on some bull.
Or if she's really thought about that. And I guarantee if you challenges her to really think about that and see what she comes up with, and if it's not alignment, you definitely got to make a decision, bro.
Yeah, I agree too. Like it's going to be a hard decision one way or the other. But if the bills is getting paid, then chill out, man. Let her relax. She got 6 kids, bruh.
Nowhere did he say anything.
Just give a little bit of
give her a little reprieve. She's 6 kids deep.
He has time to have that discussion with her.
Right.
Because she's not working.
Right.
So I mean, have that discussion.
Yeah, relax.
Give her a safe space so so he can approach her about the discussion and what he's feeling.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
And then
share.
And the one thing that and Miss B, you probably seen it, or you all may have seen it, but Viola Davis and her husband, when they were talking about how they got together and how she was the one that had horrible credit, he had all the credit and stuff like that, but they got established through him, and it allowed her that time to kind of get herself together, but it wasn't immediate. And I feel like he's expecting it because it's like, well, it's happening for me now, so let it happen for you. No, do you get it together, relax.
Let's take a breather.
Because you're doing a lot right now. I'm still hurt, my guy. You get yourself together, and then I will. But it's not going to happen overnight. So I mean, I definitely can understand him, because I have been in situations like this where you're wanting that person. It's like, come on, let's go, let's do it, let's move. But you show some grace. Just a bit.
6 kids.
How long been together?
No, he didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. It says I moved in and he's been living with her for 3 years.
Okay, but that's not the beginning of the relationship,
right?
Oh well, then you owe yourself a conversation, like, because you want to know why. You know what I mean? And she may be facing some things that you don't know. Like there may be some depression, or there may be feelings of inadequacy because she sees him moving at a rapid pace and she's not keeping up. So I feel like you would do yourself a disservice without the conversation. Have the conversation to find out, because it may draw y'all closer, because you might realize that she's fighting something inside of her that you never even knew.
Well, and she's dealing with 6 different
personalities.
6 different, fathers and children. I mean, she's got a whole bunch of other things to deal with. On top of him.
Stephen A. Wow.
Yes. There's only just so much that you can. I always say, there's just so many. I always tell y'all, there's only just so many give a fuck you're gonna be able to give in one day.
In one day.
And she better talk quick, because she found a good brother. 6 fathers.
That's what I'm saying.
6 kids. Where did you find that unicorn?
Exactly.
What was he doing? Because your average person is going to be like,
I'm going to say 42. How you look? Because I ain't got no kids in good credit. Hey.
Oh, bless her heart. She's just she's got her own things she's got going on.
Agreed.
Agreed.
Oh, it's not a matter. It's definitely there.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what it is.
All right. So then what's our final wrap up for him?
Well, like you said, I think he owes himself a conversation, and really sitting and thinking about, because it does sound like you care about this woman.
Yeah,
it does. And I don't think it's worth throwing away over just because you want her to hit certain goals that you're hitting currently. That's not really fair.
Nah, it ain't, because everybody's process is going to be different.
We all do this differently. We all process things differently and at different speeds. Ain't that right, James?
Different speeds.
That's cool.
Just got to get it clear and defined.
Yes.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
The time wastes away when you just not when there's not clarity about what it is that we're actually doing.
Yeah. All right. So then
brother,
here's what we're going to jump into now. We're going to jump into the continuation from last week. And the specific title is The Healing Power of Closing Old Chapters. So let's go straight into it. So the healing, this is the title that you gave it. And the overall theme is refresh and restore. So what is this power? What does this power look like? What does it feel like?
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with a client last week. I came in and I was like, man, you feel different, man. So feel lighter. He was like, yeah, man, my sleep has been really good. Man, I had a lot of more energy walking around.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And I always ask, I said, what do you attribute that to? And as I say for a lot of my clients, hey, what I want to do is just remove the debris so that you can see clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the biggest benefits of reclaiming that healing power is clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And with that clarity comes perspective. You start to see things a lot differently than you probably have for a very long time. It's like you're looking, instead of before you were looking black and white, now you have vivid color.
Right.
You see what's possible. So one of the first things I'll say is the clarity. And there's, when you have clarity, there's a whole bunch you can do in life because you're sure about what it is that you're pursuing, who you are, who you want in your life, who you don't want to engage. Man, that changes the whole game for your boy.
It does.
Yeah.
When we talk about clarity,
Mhm.
we talk about how you can develop that and how you can get to that point.
Mhm.
I think that we've already talked about striking a balance,
Mhm.
coming down off of that high stress level of whatever you're going through in life. And we talk about, because we specifically talk about CBD
Mhm.
Right.
and how it can bring you to a point where you can deal with whatever it is that you're dealing with.
Mhm.
Right.
You can
Yeah.
form clarity,
Yes.
Mhm.
because we talk about that in the story, in my story, and other people's story,
Mhm.
about how it can. Like I said, it clarifies things for you. It doesn't mask anything.
Mhm.
It doesn't shut you down.
Mhm.
If anything, it gives you the opportunity
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
find clarity.
Mhm.
Yes.
Now, how do you protect it? So now that I got to a point
Yes.
where I'm seeing things differently. How do you protect it so that you don't revert back to that
Yes.
black and white and not seeing things as clear?
Go ahead.
Yes.
You go first.
No, I was just going to say that's where we talk about this holistic view of your life, of your journey.
Mhm.
I've always said it's not just one thing.
Mhm.
It wasn't for me.
Mhm.
CBD
Yeah.
just brought me to a point where I could cope with
Mhm.
and understand and then seek help.
Yes.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And acknowledge that, yes, I need more than one thing,
Mhm.
more than one
Yeah.
skill set.
Yes.
Or I need tools.
Mhm.
I need tools in my toolbox.
Mhm.
And that's what we've always tried to emphasize. I've always tried to emphasize
Mhm.
is that this is a multimodality way of approaching your life.
Mhm.
CBD gets you here,
Mhm.
recognizing that, yes, I need some help. I need
Yeah.
some tools.
So then we go
Yeah.
here.
and then you,
Right.
yeah, because that's what I did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That's
Okay.
what I did.
Mhm.
Give you some
I
bandwidth.
saw, yes, I had to.
Mhm.
I had to
Mhm.
deal with things that I was dealing with.
Mhm.
And in order to do that,
Yeah.
I had to seek a professional.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
and continue to. I'm not ashamed of it.
Right.
Right.
I can still
Right.
continue to see my therapist.
Absolutely.
And I'm like
Let's say I
5-6
smoke.
years deep.
Right.
I smoke my own product, as they say. Try to.
Yes, because
Yes.
isn't it? I mean, I don't know if it's law, but don't therapists have to have their own therapist?
We don't, but what's interesting is when I was going through grad school, as a part of our clinical training, we were required to do 50 individual sessions.
Oh.
So it's a way of making sure you won't crazy before they
Right.
But then once you get out, it's no longer required.
Well, because you're listening to a whole bunch of
Yes.
folks'
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
problems,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and having to not internalize all of that
Mhm.
Mhm.
and all of their issues.
Yes.
I mean, kudos.
Right.
Look,
Big time.
Because I'm just trying to get you. I'm trying to get you
Right.
down here in balance so you can go see him.
Mhm.
I mean, as part of
Yeah.
Mhm.
of your holistic journey.
Yeah.
And-
Don't, like I said, it's not just one thing. People, it's not one thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No.
Please.
No.
Mhm.
So then, how do you fix? So now that we're clear,
yes.
Yes.
how do we get to you to
Yes.
protect?
The only way you protect it is by this good old B word called boundaries.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Ooh.
It's like
hard.
it's like Lion King, Mufasa, you know.
Right.
Boundaries.
Yes.
Say it again.
Ground boundaries.
Like y'all scared, right?
Right.
What's going on?
I'm telling you,
Are
boundaries
you
only
cussing at folks?
right. It really is.
What are you doing?
And you know
James?
why? Because boundaries, when you start setting boundaries
Yeah.
with people, it always exposes their true intents towards you.
Mhm.
That word no,
Because it's a complete sentence.
It
isn't it?
is.
sentence.
Mhm.
Lengthy.
And
It's a
man,
complete sentence.
Mhm.
Preach, James.
you,
Preach
you
it to
gotta
'em.
look.
Because I say it all the time. Go.
Just say go,
Go.
do it.
Do it.
You're gonna find out really all you need to know about a person by how they handle your no.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How they handle your no.
Mhm.
And I made the distinction. So boundaries are like fences.
Mhm.
So with fences, there's a door, entryway, right?
Yeah.
So with a fence is you want to let the bad out, but you're keeping the good in.
Mhm.
So boundaries help you do that. It helps you keep the good in while keeping the bad out.
Yeah.
Oftentimes what people confuse, they think they have boundaries, but they're really putting up walls. So with the wall, right, nothing good or bad gets in or out.
Mhm.
So once they start healing, it's like, oh, you ain't dealing with these people no more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And some of those people you still got to deal with.
That's
Like,
right.
you just can't get rid
Work
of your
people.
family. You can't
That's
get rid of your. You can't just
Yes.
walk into your office and say, y'all fired, y'all fired, y'all fired. I want to deal
That's
with none of y'all
right.
niggas no more.
Yes.
You still have to work with these
Yes.
people.
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead, preach it, honey.
So,
Go ahead. Let me sit up straight.
Right.
Y'all sit up straight. Listen, because I've been preaching this for over a year now.
Right. Right.
I got backup. Go
Right.
ahead.
Yeah.
So clarity, when you get that clarity, the way you protect is about boundaries. The reason why you need that clarity is because you don't want to be confused about what it is that you're responsible for
Right.
and what the other person is responsible for.
Got you.
When you're unclear, people can manipulate you out of
That's
your
right.
boundaries
Mhm.
because you're not for
Mm.
sure, hey, if this is a need that I'm
All
supposed
All
to
right.
be meeting,
All right.
or if they supposed to be meeting it for me.
That's
All
right.
right.
Or instead of wait, if this is something that is a need or a want. Like we have as I say, boundaries rules are for control of people. Boundaries are things that you're going to do in response to what people, their behavior.
Yes.
Mm.
So you can say a boundary is not, don't talk to me that way. That's what we sometimes think a boundary is. It's not a boundary. A boundary is, hey, if you continue to raise your voice, I'm going to leave the room.
Mhm.
So I'm
Right.
not telling you what you got to change. I was just telling you this is my boundary.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
right.
And if you want to continue to talk at a proper level, we can resume the conversation.
Mhm.
But if you continue this, I'm telling you now. So you don't, the person is not going to be unclear about why you walked in the room. Oh, you
That's
don't want to have
right.
an argument. You want to talk
Mhm.
or whatever. No, I've already expressed to you what my
That's
boundary
right.
is.
So
I do
with
it all the
with you
time.
in that, let me ask a question, because you have those boundary stompers where their personality or even just who they are is just so aggressive
Mhm.
Yes.
that somebody may build the fence, but that other person is smashed.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
So what is the suggestion to somebody who may have more of a meek demeanor dealing with that person while trying to set those and like I see it in the workplace where
Yes.
you see somebody
Good
who's a lot
question.
more
Mhm.
and you see
Mhm.
somebody saying, now this is, I'm not comfortable with this, but
Yes.
and they try, but the
Yes.
other
Cuss
person's
them the
just
hell out. So I'm just
I mean, for me, because I work in a professional
Mhm.
environment,
Mhm.
I always say we can agree to disagree. But
Mhm.
for me, I'm like, but this conversation's over.
Mhm.
And I shut it. I mean, that's it for me.
Mhm.
We can
Yes.
agree to disagree. I've heard you.
yeah.
Mhm.
And we can agree
Mhm.
to disagree.
Mhm.
But this conversation's over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm either walking away, and it's not personal.
Right.
I'm just not going
Right.
to, I'm not going to receive any more of this.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
I mean, and and for me,
Mhm.
closing the tab, for me, it's done
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I've received it.
Mhm.
I've processed it.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can agree to disagree
Mhm.
because I've realized we are not going to agree.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Wherever it is, whatever it is we're discussing, we can
Mhm.
agree to disagree. But this conversation's over.
So is there a point that
And I've exited.
is there a point that
And
I
person
closed
should
the tab.
identify in themselves where this is it? You know what I'm saying? Because like you,
Oh,
See,
yes.
I don't know. And the reason why I say I don't know, James,
Mhm.
is that because me personally,
Mhm.
I'm not going to take on
Right.
whatever it is
Mhm.
that I've decided that we're not going to agree on.
Mhm.
Because there's no compromise in this
Right.
conversation.
Mhm.
And so since we have, because I've listened, I truly have
Right.
listened to what you
Mhm.
say.
Mhm.
I've tried to tell you my viewpoint or whatever.
Mhm.
And we have it's okay to be disagreeable
Yes.
and not be agreeable.
It takes emotional maturity
Yes.
to disagree with somebody and still maintain connection.
Mhm.
Yes.
That takes emotional maturity. I think
Yeah.
people sometimes, when they have a disagreement with someone that, especially to set a boundary with them, if they're not healthy enough, they start to now view the entire relationship through that one boundary the person is, or that one conflict, primary conflict
Yes.
that they've said.
Because for me, I can speak to you the next 5 minutes and have a completely, we can have a relation. I mean, because for me, it's done.
Right.
Yep.
We've agreed to disagree. That's fine.
Yeah.
We've stopped the conversation.
Right.
Okay. Whatever else is coming up, that's what it. But you're right. You do. People like, cop an attitude. And and I'll say, what is this?
Yeah. What is this?
What is this?
Right.
Well, because I don't understand. Well, Miss Faber, no, honey.
Yeah.
What is this?
So you're a good example of a person who probably can regulate themselves internally and move on.
Well,
Where
you
some
have to.
people, what we call flooding, is where they're so emotionally flooded because of the conflict. It's hard for them to move on. For you, it's like, okay, we've had the conversation.
Yes.
You want to get some ice cream?
Yes.
No, I need some time.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know what? If you say to me, you know what, Brian, I need some time. I got to process. Okay.
Yes.
Come on back. Tell me when we can have a conversation. I'm cool.
So I got a
you're
question
cool.
for both of you.
Uh-huh.
When you said this word, because there are people who are throwing this term around on social media and you just used it, but you actually y'all both have the ability to explain it. When you speak about emotional maturity,
Yes.
what is it? What does it look like in relationship, be it in a relationship, intimate relationship, or even with like friendships and things?
Yes.
What does that look like? Because now people are just using like, oh, you're not emotionally mature. And it's like, wait, do you even know what you're talking about?
Right.
No.
Look, these are some of the things I like to point out, characteristics of people that are emotionally healthy or emotionally mature. One, we're boundaries. They know how to protect and set boundaries. They're good at vulnerability, so they have no problem with self-disclosure, share their emotions. They know where they end and the other person begins, so they have a good sense of, big word, individualization, which is pretty much they're clear on who they are. All right. And they don't have a problem if someone shows up in their own skin being who they are. They're not intimidated by that. They know how to foster connection. They know how to resolve conflict. And that can be a layered one where I just break down is that these people listen well. They don't listen to talk. They listen to understand.
What you say?
I said, thank God. I have to teach that to my staff. I'm like, listen, hear me.
Yes.
First.
Yes. Emotionally mature people, they're curious. So they're all about seeking understanding before responding. They take time to manage their own self-care. So they don't put the onus of their physical and emotional well-being on the other person. They take responsibility for their own emotions, thoughts, actions, behaviors. And if they have an issue with you, they approach it directly. They don't leave it to guess or indirect or being implicit. They're very direct about what they're going to express, what they need from you.
Absolutely.
So these are kind of characters I know sometimes people can just give a whole list. I like to point out what it looks like.
Right.
So you can see yourself in it.
Right.
Help you separate. Oh crap! Now I know some people that are not probably emotionally mature in my circle.
Right.
Just by these characteristics.
Right. And I think one of the things that you were talking about, and maybe this can go into more the suffering in silence, knowing where your partner begins and ends, and when you begin and end. And I think a lot of us may overlook that because we start to solve problems that we should be letting our spouse or significant other work through. Like we're there in support, but this is something that you can work through. So what does that look like? And of a woman who's married over what, 30
I
years?
was married for 36 years.
There we go. So what does that look like when you're seeing your spouse working through something, but you know there's really nothing you can specifically do? Is something that they have to.
For me, I gave him space to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I would let him know that I'm here, I'm available, I'm supporting you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but Kenneth was a man that needed space
Mhm.
because he was going to process.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to process whatever it was.
Mhm.
And I always gave him a safe place to land.
Mm-hmm.
And for him, that was, kind of going out. It was, having a good meal. It was making him feel safe enough.
Mm-hmm.
And he, and he would say whatever he was going to say.
Right.
And take it wherever it is,
Mm-hmm.
whatever
Mhm.
language that is, whatever verbiage that comes out as.
Right. Right.
And accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
And understand. And, you got to get to know the person.
Right.
Because
Right.
there's certain things that go on. It can be verbal or nonverbal.
And you said
Cues.
something that was, and I would like for you to add in on
Yeah.
what I'm about to ask her, or even mention. You told Kim and I, which I found so hilarious. People seen me and Kenneth, and they thought that it was always like this shit.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was like, me and this Negro fought for the first 10 years.
Oh my God, yeah. Yes. But I mean, we were,
Yeah.
we were like,
Yeah.
our friends were like, oh my God, y'all are just so fabulous. Yeah. But you don't know what it looked like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That,
Yeah.
that's 7 to 10 years in it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I will be the first one to
Yeah.
tell you,
Mhm.
oh, the rule, don't let the sun hit your ass coming up.
I know that's right.
He did one time.
Right.
He'll, if he was
Right.
alive, he'd tell you.
Right.
Regretted that shit.
Right.
You get locked out. You get, you get a whole bunch of X for this. You're not coming in my house.
Right.
Butter.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Right. Right.
And he was just like, my house. Oh, it ain't today.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, it was a thing.
And see, James, so that's where I'm
Right.
asking about the boundaries,
Yeah.
even amongst your intimate relationship with your spouse,
Yes.
because how do you do that when you know, you get what I'm saying? So like you said it, boom, boundary, don't come in here this way.
Yeah.
But
But
everybody
you
don't
try
have
me.
that. Yeah, everybody don't have
Right.
that.
You're trying me. Because you're trying. Because people trying you, right?
They do. So this is why. So this is so funny. So this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that a boundary is all about what you're going to do
Yeah.
Mhm.
in response to the other person's behavior.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that would probably be on the control side. The boundary would be like, go ahead.
If X would tell you, because I give you warning shots. I tell you how it's gonna be. I give you the consequences of your actions. I
Do with
never
that
lie
what you
about
will.
that.
Yeah.
I don't lie to you about that. If Xavier was here right now, he'd tell you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I give you 3 shots.
I know
Yeah.
that's
I tell
right.
you, baby, please
Yeah.
do this, baby.
Baby,
All right, now
please.
mama done told you.
Now,
Get
nigga.
up and do this. 3rd time. Ass whoopings are going to come in. Because I've given you 2 shots. I've given 2 shots over the bow now. 3rd one, I'm committed.
Kids or the husband?
Kenneth was here,
Oh,
he
Kenneth,
tell you
okay,
he was scared of me.
right.
Because I give you warning shots.
Third
You
one
know?
ass.
I do. I give you, I've always given, if my family was here, they tell you.
Yeah.
I give out warning shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, you was
Um,
firecracking your film, I can tell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be like, baby, please.
Yeah.
Please don't
Yeah.
make mama do that with the kids. Don't make mama do this.
Don't make me do this.
Don't make me do this. Because I'm an
I don't want
old
to do this.
fashioned.
Right.
Make it.
I don't want
want
to.
to.
Why you? And then afterwards, like, why you make mama do this to you? I didn't want to. I told you, baby. Just
Why
do
you
what
set
I
yourself up?
asked.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is
So yeah.
this is why I say the boundaries help you protect your peace.
Mm-hmm.
Is because if you have to waste your energy if you have to whoop its tail
Oh,
after the
yeah.
3rd time.
It's
Right.
sad. It's sad.
And you gotta lay hands on them.
Yeah.
And that's just too much energy exerted.
Yeah. I'm spent.
You're spent.
You're spent.
Yeah.
And you just like, but you feel better. I'm sorry, you feel better.
You do, but
You
temporarily
do.
until you do it again.
No, I feel better.
You feel better.
I do. You know,
So this
I
is
do.
actually
Because
bringing
we've
up the
come to
point.
conflict resolution.
This
We've
okay.
This
is good.
Yes.
So
yes.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm with you.
Y'all
Let's go.
watching our conversation.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
So this is a difference. The
Hmm.
you do have short-term pleasure. I'm not gonna lie to you, say it feels good to whip
yes.
somebody's butt. If
Yeah.
you told them not to
Because
do
it's
this.
built up for quite a while now.
Yes.
Yes. And
Mhm.
it, no, it's a release. I mean, I'll be the first one to tell
Right.
you that.
So it's a release.
Absolutely.
But what happens is you forfeit the repair.
Oh, no, they repair.
There-
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No. We have a corrective behavior going on. No. And they remember. No, I've only had to lay hands on my child, on either one of my children, maybe once or twice, because I do. I'm
Good fear
impressive.
God.
I do.
That's what I was asking. I was like, are we talking about
Yes.
Kenneth or Xavier?
No,
I mean,
no.
the kids.
Kenneth was harder.
Kenneth. Okay.
Yes. No.
Yes.
That was a whole different type of corrective behavior.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I
yeah.
thought we were talking about. You were talking
Yeah,
about
but
intimate
it's not
relationships,
really
right?
corrective. Yes. But
Okay.
did the son ever catch him again? No.
I
No,
know that's
So
right.
this is
No.
this
But
is what
it
I
was a
say.
conversation because afterwards, after all the tempers have calmed down,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I've let you back in the house, but we
This-
both have to have a cooling off
Mhm.
phase.
So you have to have the cooling off.
Yes.
So there end up one choices
Absolutely.
that we end up choosing sometimes,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and we don't always realize which one we're actually settling for. Sometimes
Mhm.
you can either choose to have compliance
Mhm.
or you can either choose to have connection.
Mhm.
You can't choose both. You can get the person to comply, so they may
Yes.
change their behavior,
Mhm.
but it doesn't guarantee the connection.
Yes.
Mhm.
But see, that's why you have to follow up. See,
You better
have to
plead your
follow
case, Miss
up.
She said no, but
I need
you
5
got to
cents.
follow
I
up.
need
whoop
5
they
cents.
ass and they love me.
Well, because you have to follow up. Because in the whole conversation of
Did you
baby
understand
wipes,
why I did
She-
what you did?
she
I
was
want you to
battling them.
understand.
She was battling them men
do
in the
you
house,
understand
boy.
why I did?
Right.
No.
Right.
Now this is old, Southern,
Uh-huh.
upbringing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you understand what happened?
Mhm.
You understand why we had to do this?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's not only a corrective behavior,
Mhm.
but it's explaining why this is dangerous to you, or why this is
Dangerous to
not
them
the
or
social.
to you or to them.
Well, to both of us.
Mhm.
To both of us,
Mhm.
so that you can function in society, because
I think I
there
partly
are
buy it.
norms. Well, because there's
Possibly.
norms, there's social norms.
Right.
There's things that you can do and that you can't do.
Mhm.
And there's laws and there's construct, and this is
Mhm.
how you survive, and this is how you
Mhm.
navigate through a society.
Mhm.
Period. And these type of, when you start going outside, I mean, you can pay consequences for going
Mhm.
outside social norms,
Right.
but understand. But I don't, I do. I feel as long as you're not hurting self, others,
Mhm.
children, or animals, I feel that you can explore
Mhm.
you can explore your environment. But
So you got
I'm a
social
safeguard.
norms, and then you got Miss Vicky norms.
no, I don't think so. I think sometimes they're
So-
one and the same.
So now let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Now let's
Well,
say
yeah.
let's
Uh-huh.
And
say
we're talking about.
a man came to you
Men.
and
We didn't
said,
start a whole relationship
Yeah.
talk show too.
Yeah.
"We sure
I
can."
know.
Because
we
my-
have to
my-
follow up on
My
this,
my
but-
question would be like, let's say
She gonna
a
be
man
gay.
came to you and said, "My wife locked me out,"
Oh,
and
let's don't do that.
then now, but it may come up in a session, right?
Physical?
No, lock me out, not knock me out.
Oh, you said knock me out. I'm like, no,
No,
we
what
do
she-
not.
yeah.
We do not agree.
Right.
We don't
No.
do that now.
No, she
Come back
locked
to us,
me
girl.
out.
No, there's boundaries
Yeah,
here.
no,
Knocked
she
out.
locked
You
me
said
out.
locked out.
Yeah,
Locked
she
out.
locked
I'm
me
sorry,
out. Now, so
baby.
he's sitting with you, and he's like,
Okay,
"My
baby.
woman locked me out.
Mhm.
How do I approach this? Because
She's pissed.
yeah, like
Yeah.
now he's livid. Like this is something maybe in his realm. This was like,
A trigger.
yeah, like yo, this is out of pocket right here, and now I got to go back and deal with this firecracker.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the suggestion? Because one, she has her stance, and her stance is legitimate. Don't
Yep.
do this, and I don't like this. And then now his response may not complement that. So how would you suggest him coming back after he violated the stance?
Yeah, but now to his defense, because he can't defend himself. To his defense, he fell asleep on one of our good friends' couches and woke up and.
But that's even a good point to for you to answer, because it's like it was a mistake, but
it
she
really was.
Yeah.
So how do I rectify this with her? You know, because not all men have the ability.
Yeah, because he had to calm down. I had to calm down. He had to calm down. You know, and we had to work that out, and then I had to listen. I had to listen, and he had to listen, and so it was an honest mistake. I mean, you know, bless his heart, it was something.
What escalated it? Well, let me answer your question. Okay. So one of my favorite proverbs: "Gentle answers turn away wrath; harsh words stir up anger." So in that scenario, I would have recommended, hey, you take accountability for what you did. You start with that first. You lean on that first. I apologize for doing ...
Yeah.
I was really hurt that you locked me out.
Yeah.
When you don't first validate and get it's interesting. You think about when you listen to somebody, it's not that you're willing to not forgive them or let them off the hook. You're looking for some level of accountability. Like, do they understand why I was mad in the first place?
Right.
And you accepting and acknowledging that validates, the person understands. And then you say, hey, man, I was really hurt that you did this, because we've never done this in our relationship. And I would appreciate if you don't do that. Now, what she says after that is going to determine everything going forward. Is she going to accept your apology and say, you know what, I'm sorry. You shouldn't doubt in the first place. Don't come up here and apologize.
See,
that's going to cause a wound right there.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Right?
No, you don't.
So that'd be the answer to my question. And then I was going to ask you about escalating. What do you felt like escalated?
It didn't escalate. It was very simple, because I don't escalate. I don't do that. I am a person that I set boundaries. I'm like, okay, you know, this is the rule. And Kenneth and I had deal breakers.
That's what I'm saying. So the rule, the boundary is what you can do within your own person in response to what they are doing.
Yeah. And that was response. But it wasn't an escalation in that it was, for me, it was a consequence of that behavior. I mean, you just get locked out. I mean, I'm gonna go about my day. Yeah. I mean, I do. I'm going about my day. You know, he was the one pissy. I mean, I'm like,
you set the rule.
I absolutely did. And he agreed to the rule. He just fell asleep on somebody's couch.
That was his bad.
It was his bad. And that's what he said.
Yeah.
You know, after several hours, because I went to work. And I mean, I was on to work, and I did my day. He's the one that did not complete his day until I got, you know, but it gave us both time to, because I compartmentalize. I always have.
Yeah.
I compartmentalize. And for me, just like, I don't know about most people, but I do. And because I have to. It's the nature of the profession. It's the nature of who I am. And so I compartmentalize things. And then that time that I've got to deal with whatever it is, then I bring that folder up, I open it up, and then I deal with whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
his piece was disturbed the whole day, I bet you.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm not gonna, you're not gonna mess up you ain't gonna mess up my whole day. We're not doing that. Because that's just the way I'm built. And I'm not, do I have a temper? Of course I do. Of course I do.
I cannot see that, Ms. Vicky.
I do. It happens, and then I'm over, and then I'm done. I'm gonna have to take some minutes.
Right.
But I say that I'm like, you want to give me some time.
Right.
Give me a minute.
So
let
then,
me collect myself.
let me ask you this. So then, while you're,
I don't think.
no, wow,
I don't think they do.
While you're in your restorative state and you're working to protect it,
Yeah.
but you acknowledge, but you may notice that your partner is not necessarily moving with it.
Mm-hmm.
And you've set your boundaries, but it's just now your home is not, it's in
Mm-hmm.
disarray.
Shambles.
Yeah, your home is in disarray because
Yeah.
you've begun to change.
Yes.
Is this, I don't like the term when people say I fell out of love and all that. I love you, but I don't love you. But when we start noticing that branch growing in another person and it's separating a little bit,
Yeah.
because now I am clear and now I am seeing and now I do want different, but you're not moving with me.
Yeah.
How do you have this conversation when you still love the person, you still want to be with the person, but they're not adjusting to the clarity and the restoration?
Yeah. Growth always, when I say it, growth is the upside of growth is that you have peace, you have clarity, you're able to move with freedom. What I call the backside of growth is that it forces you to sometimes make the most uncomfortable decisions to protect it. And that's often what happens. You alluded to, people falling out of love. Sometimes I think people outgrow a version of a person that their partner connected with initially. And now that version of themselves no longer exists, the partner doesn't know how to connect because they met you 10 years ago and you've evolved, you've grown, you've matured. And they're like, man, and this is where people can kind of get manipulated. It's like, you've changed. You're not the same person anymore. And instead of saying, no, I ain't changed, you're right. I have. And I want to figure out what we can do about that.
Right.
If people are not evolving and not changing, it's like they're still connected to the same version of themselves. And that's okay. Some people, to the point earlier, some people, they're comfortable with where they're at. And it's not I'm not making an accusation about, hey, you should get on with your life. But it's just a statement of reality. Some people are growing at the pace that they're comfortable with. And for some people, they are actually, they actually don't want to outgrow their partner because we all know, like, sometimes if you outgrow your partner, it's going to force you to make a decision.
Right.
So it's like, I'm just going to stay here because growth would be too painful. It's going to cost me too much. If we're talking about marriage, yeah, you definitely want to seek a third party to work through that. If you're dating, you have a little more flexibility on making that decision, giving that person time, trying to get clarity. Because I think most oftentimes people are not unwilling to change if you share with them where you're at in your process. But if they feel like your growth is, and the way that you're approaching them is coming from a place of moral superiority, judgment, it's going to be hard for them to receive. And especially, and sometimes, get this, you can't control it, because if their lens is they're always viewing themselves through a lens of, I'm not perfect, I'm not enough, no matter what you say, it's going to be filtered through that lens. And you got to be able to know, like, man, okay, because clear as day, you could be saying, you know what, I want to become a better version of myself. And when you hear somebody say in response to that, well, where does that put me? That's really not the response. I just said, hey,
I want to be better.
Where do I fit into that? Yeah, man.
That tells you, oh man, they just want to stay connected to this version of myself that I have at this moment, not the one that I'm really striving to be.
Yeah.
But don't you think that includes? I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say. So when someone says something like that, what would be the appropriate response? Like, would you recommend them say something like, "Tell me what that looks like," or "How can I support you in that?"
Absolutely. There are two questions. One is, and I usually tell them, "I'm not sure what that means for you. I hope you would want to grow with me, but I know that's a decision that you're going to have to make.
Right.
Are you open to exploring what it looks like for us to grow together?"
Okay.
There's, I have to find this document. I often say, man, half of the time it's just that we don't have good resources,
Mhm.
and good accessible language for these conversations.
Mhm.
We know we want to create connection, but we don't always have that accessible language and resources to give us that question to get inside someone's heart. As I say, the quality of your questions determines the quality of your life.
Mhm.
And that's really the role that I play as a therapist, is I spend a lot of my time really trying to collect high quality questions,
Mhm.
because the quality of questions I ask really open up people's own understanding and perception.
Mhm.
There's a difference between asking why versus what. Why is a disempowering question. What is more empowering and push in a place of I have some agency.
Yeah.
So that would be the answer to my question.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He did it to me when my brother straight cut me straight down because the process that we were working through is Pittsburgh mentality. And I was telling him that there's a mentality that comes with being from Pittsburgh. And I hate going back because that mentality sticks with you. And he hit me with well, you know that it doesn't make a difference where you go because Pittsburgh's actually inside of you. I was like, oh, I feel dirty.
I do have a question about that. Like, especially while we talk about like closing tabs and things like that. Triggers.
Yeah.
You know, because that's something that you can please let our audience know. First of all, do triggers even exist? And then when they arise, what does a person do?
Triggers absolutely exist. I think currently in our culture, people have got like a bad connotation around triggers because it can mean something bad. Oh man, you got triggered. Triggers are a part of human life. Triggers remind us that we have history with something. We have history with people. We have history with experiences. So triggers are normal for one. What's the second part of your question?
What to do about them?
Yes. One of the things I always say is you can tell the significance of your trigger by the intensity of what you feel in your body, the energy that you feel. So if people really, it's a very simple thing, just start paying attention to what your body is doing when you're in conversations with people. And
which I've started to do.
Right.
I'm like, why am I hunched like this right now? Like I'm in attack mode. Like, why am I feeling like this? Yeah.
And so if you start paying attention to your body and noticing when your body is tensing up, when your breathing is getting shallow, when you feel like you're getting butterflies, you're getting anxious, you want to start asking yourself, okay, what is here, that's not specific. There are two questions I ask. What am I thinking right now? And what is the meaning that what am I thinking right now? And what is the meaning I'm attaching to what is going on in this moment? Oftentimes those triggers, they always tend to trigger memories. And with memories come narratives. And with narratives, that's where you get your meaning at. And whatever meaning you're attaching to that memory, that's where the work begins. And if that narrative that you have is one that is not empowering, you're going to have a hard time. And I say I love Darius Daniels when he talks about this. It says, we can either live our lives sinking, surviving, or thriving. And so for a lot of us, the narratives that we have, that we've collected, a lot of them we've collected them unconsciously just as a result of our lived experience, right? But a lot of these narratives that we've accumulated are narratives that have helped us to survive, but they haven't actually helped us to thrive.
So now I got a question. Can we build boundaries around the wrong feelings? So like, for example, a trigger, and now you build a boundary around this trigger, which actually leaves you trapped where you're not necessarily working on it or healing from it. It's just a button that whenever pushed, kaboom. Is that a possibility?
Yes. Well, that's the thing. That's the difference between the boundary and the wall. The wall is, hey, it's a straight wall, so nothing good or bad is getting out. With the trigger, though, the boundary that you want to put up is like, man, when I'm in this space, what I really need is connection. I really I need to self-soothe. I need some words of affirmation.
Yeah.
I don't need the other stuff. And so that's when you're able to communicate to your, just so we're talking about relationships, right?
Yes.
Hey, when I'm in this moment, this is what I need. It's actually not helpful when you start with a criticism. I'm more open to hearing you and being, I really want to hear you and support you. And actually, I don't wake up thinking like, how can I piss you off?
Right.
Yeah.
That's not how
How
I
am I
wake
gonna
up.
make this nigga
Right.
mad today?
Right.
Nobody does. Yeah.
So literally,
I
I'm like,
really
not.
want to
Right.
piss her off
Like-
today.
Well, yeah. And I hope not. I hope that's not the way you wake up.
right. And
'Cause
so,
If that's the case, you need to take a whole bunch of gummies before you
Yes.
approach her.
Right.
Because you need to come down off of that.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And you need to reevaluate your relationship.
Yeah.
Hello.
So how do you both of you feel about the whole going to sleep angry? Is there anything to that where you're going to sleep angry?
I don't believe in going to sleep angry. Me personally.
Is there any negative
I mean,
connotation
'cause-
to it?
Yeah, I think so.
Mhm.
I mean, I get, that was, for me, that was one of the rules, is that we don't do this.
mhm.
I've never
Mhm.
believed that. And I always believed that.
Mhm.
For me, it was like, we always had to give each other a kiss goodnight.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
because you had to, you had to resolve it because we're not,
Mhm.
and I think that was more kind of, it's like,
Mhm.
we're not going to bed mad now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if we have to stay up all night. We
Right.
got to figure this
Figured it
out.
out.
Right.
Yeah.
We got to figure
Mhm.
this out.
Mhm.
But we're not doing that. So we're not laying our head on the pillow
Mhm.
without
Mhm.
giving each other a kiss and
Mhm.
Yeah.
and working it out.
Right.
But that was just communication.
Mhm.
I'm a huge advocate for that.
Mhm.
And
And
if you're in a relationship with somebody, I don't care if it hurts.
Right.
You gotta talk to them.
And it's funny because I've
Yeah,
actually
they
heard
are.
that from a woman that I work with, and I thought it was so admirable what she said when she said, "Me and my husband." And she was like, "When it comes to marriage, it's one of those things where one person cannot wake up wanting the divorce. You have to want to fight for it."
No,
you know?
and that and that's the thing is that when we got married, we had what we call deal breakers.
Mhm.
And there were certain things that boundaries we weren't going to cross with each other. We're not going to call each other out of our name.
Mhm.
We're not, these are just things we're not going to do because
Right.
you say things and you can't take them back.
There you go.
Mhm.
I'm a true believer in that.
Mhm.
You just
Yeah.
can't take things back.
Mhm.
Because I don't care how much you say you're sorry.
Right.
You just can't do it.
Mm-mm.
And so there's just certain things that were deal breakers.
Mhm.
And one of those deal breakers was that, you're my best friend.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And because you're my best friend, he would say, short of breaking these deal breakers, we're not getting a divorce.
Mhm.
It's different if I do one of these deal breakers or you do one of these deal breakers,
Mhm.
Mhm.
then, and even as we got older, it was like, oh no, we might,
Mhm.
that may be a little flexible on them deal
Mhm.
breakers.
Mhm.
Because as long as you're not putting hands on each other, as long as
Mhm.
you're not physical,
Yeah.
as long as that we are not, as they say, falling out of love with each
Mhm.
other. Because when you do that, then you start saying things, you start acting ways
Mhm.
that are, I believe, disrespectful
Right.
to yourself and to
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
person.
Mhm.
And that's unnecessary.
Mhm.
There's no reason
Mhm.
for you to do that to somebody.
Mhm.
So what's
Um,
your advice on
That's what
the
I feel about
sleep,
that.
Yeah.
going to sleep angry?
I don't think you should.
What I think some people don't realize that they've even went to sleep angry
Mhm.
because they're disconnected from their body. They know they are. There are people who are comfortable with anger
Mhm.
and their intensity,
Mhm.
and there's some people who don't like feeling anger because of the emotional space it puts them in.
Mhm.
So they tend to disconnect from it,
Mhm.
and it can make it really hard for them to actually build something healthy. Because when you're disconnected from your anger, you don't really know when your boundaries are being violated.
Mhm.
So the anger is telling you, anger is your signal that, hey, a boundary or a value of mine has been violated.
Mhm. But you've already cut the cord from that, so you don't know.
So you don't know.
Mhm.
So the anger is and this, I want to be direct. I hate indirect answers. You can make a decision to because we know if you've been in relationships, there are some issues that you know you're not going to resolve
Mhm.
in one night. It's so layered because it's so deep and it has history behind it.
Mhm.
And you can stay up till darn morning,
Mhm.
and you probably not going to resolve, especially with no third parties, without some level of third party support.
Mhm.
But that anger, going to bed angry, I think they can go to bed angry, but what intensity of the anger are you going to bed with?
Mhm.
That's my challenge. Is like if you are going to bed, and I talk about sometimes with couples of two different types of anger. Are you angry at me or are you angry at the situation? Because sometimes we're not necessarily angry with our partner. We're angry that we even have this conflict in the first place.
Mhm.
It just feels like the anger is directed towards you.
Yeah.
But don't you think that with differentiating between those type of angers, that it's progressive and that it's time and it's continuum and it's a space for
Yeah,
everything.
if you don't set a
And so,
time to resolve
yes,
it, absolutely.
yes.
That's the
I'm-
challenge is
Mhm.
it's not necessarily if, hey man, I went, because sometimes you need a timeout, you need
Yes.
rest.
Mhm.
I
Uh-huh.
use this acronym, HUNGRY, that stands for HOPE, or it says that typically you don't want to have intense conversations when you're in one of these four moods: hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Preach.
So if you're in one of those four moods, you've had 10 hours at your job, you worked, came home with the kids, you actually don't have the emotional capacity to even have the conversation.
Mhm.
So you may go to sleep a little bit angry, but wake up feeling rested. You may still be a little bit angry, but you have the emotional capacity to actually have a conversation.
I had to learn that.
Absolutely.
I had to learn that about my partner now, because she would say that, like, I don't have the capacity. And I'm like, I don't understand why you don't have the capacity.
Right.
Like, what's going on? Like, what are you talking about? But it was literally, she was like,
Mhm.
I can't process this
Mhm.
conversation at this
Yeah.
time, and we got to come back to it.
Yep.
That took a while for me to get
Mhm.
as a spouse, because I'm like, what's wrong? Like,
Yep.
but in my mind, I'm not at the same place she's at, because I done
Mhm.
dealt with a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm just thinking, resolve it and let's move on. And
We
that's
typically
not
have
it.
we have either the conflict pursuer and the conflict withdrawer.
Mhm.
The conflict pursuer, they want to get through it, which is probably you and
Uh,
you want to get
but
through it and
but
have
you
it
know
off
what?
your chest
Yeah,
before
but
you go to
know
bed.
what? You know what? Just as you, I actually, I only have the bandwidth for so many hours of the day.
Mhm.
If you, I mean, truly,
Mhm.
Yes.
if I've just come off of a 12 or a 16-hour shift
Oh yes.
and come home, I'm very honest to say, look, I know
I don't wanna talk
we've
about
got
this.
we've
Yeah.
got some we got something we
Mhm.
talk about. I don't have it. I'm
Mhm.
spent.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's why I talk about the bandwidth and the continuation, the
Mhm.
continuum, is that yes.
Yeah.
Am I angry? No, because I'm too freaking tired to be
Mhm.
angry at you
Mhm.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a lot of
Right.
energy.
Mhm.
I
Right.
got to spend a lot of energy being
Mhm.
pissed off at you,
Yeah.
and I just don't have it in me to do
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Right.
Not that we've resolved the issue. I'm not
Mhm.
mad.
Mm-mm.
I'm not going to bed mad at you
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
because I know there's something going on, but I'm just too fucking tired to
Mhm.
deal with it right now.
Mhm.
And I've acknowledged that. I'm like,
Mhm.
look,
Yeah.
boo, I know we got something to work out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be back. I'll be
Mhm.
back with you here in a
Right.
second.
Mhm.
But I just, I've
Mhm.
just come
Mhm.
off a shift. I'm
Yeah.
tired. I'm spent. And that may be, Friday night, I'm off, you're off. And actually, Friday's not there never was a good time. Usually, honestly, it was Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And we're going out. We're gonna, we've gotten up, we're cool, but we still needed to have this discussion.
Mhm.
Am I pissed? Yeah, I'm still pissy at you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm still a little salty. You're a little salty at me.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go out, we're gonna get something to eat, we're gonna,
You need
do
the
what we need to do.
You need that connection
Yeah.
to regulate yourself so you can actually have a
do.
conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I ask these questions because I feel like when you're in your restore period and you're
Mhm.
starting to feel refreshed,
Mhm.
especially in relationships, which is why I'm focusing on relationships so much. The other person, with the lack of communication, has no idea where you're at,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like it can just totally knock
Mhm.
down the foundation of what you're trying to build.
Yeah.
And so when you guys are both speaking about communication
Mhm.
and how important it is, no matter if you're angry, because I
Yeah.
guess what, I don't have
Yes.
the energy no more, or the identification of, let me just start by saying, so that you can bring down a person's angry, like that level of anger that they possess. And the reason why I'm trying to go that route is because when we're talking about restoration, how would you talk about somebody who may end up getting reset? You see what I'm saying? So like, I'm restoring, but then now, because of these things that I have not even thought about doing in my restoration period, I fell back. And now here I am back at square one again. So if you guys could speak to just like the process, because like you said, it's a journey, but then also not getting stuck in the old you, because you think, well, this is just how I am. What I was doing wasn't me. This is me, because this is what I ended up resorting back to.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Man, that's why I say the community is the biggest part, the connection, because you need somebody that can reflect, that you're in at least some level of close proximity to you, for them to be able to observe and reflect back to you. Hey, man, you were going to the gym for the last 3 months, and these last 2 weeks, I know you just came straight home. You've been off your, you've been playing games. Like, hey, what's going on? And sometimes you won't even realize how long you were in that autopilot.
Right.
And so that's why the community is really important. The other part of this, and this is kind of one of those ones where I would say it takes a lot of self-awareness. Because I don't see, hopefully in that restore period, you've expanded your level of self-awareness for you to be able to recognize, hey, when I'm off my routine, when I see how you're observing how your thinking is unwinding. So I say, we can be observer of our thoughts, compassionate observers, or we can be critical judges. The goal is hopefully that we can increase our capacity to observe our thinking, because you can't change a behavior if you haven't identified the thoughts that are driving it. And so when you get that level of self-awareness, it starts right here. As I say, you get your head out first and then your body follows.
That's true.
Head out first and your body follows. So that connection, that community piece, and then paying attention to your thinking pattern is literally observing yourself. Almost like an out-of-body experience, just watching how you show up. And you need to bring those things, process them with your therapist, and in a safe space, obviously with your spouse or your partner. But those are the only two ways I know that we can really stay on board, which is why, I tell brothers, I say, you think about this, we have sisters, our sisters are graduating college at a higher rate than us as brothers. They are starting more businesses than us.
Yes.
And I said, a big part of why that is, they have community. Black Girl Magic. What do we have? Brothers don't have anything.
That's right.
And it's not that they are going through.
Nigga, you'll be all right. That's all we hear. You be all right. You be all right.
And it's not that they're not facing challenges. In a lot of ways, they're facing more challenges than we are. But they're getting through them because they got the community. They got the circle to say, girl, we ain't gonna do that. You ain't going back to that Negro. Or you can do this.
That's right.
Let me help out with your resume.
Right.
Put a plug in for you.
Happened today.
That's right. That's right. It's what we got.
It did. It happened today. I said, wait a minute, girl, we gotta make this money. Let's go.
Oh yeah, you did have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got so many different comments. Somebody said, I love this. I don't know. They're not all. So some is here and some is there. So your cousin said, this is good. And
Appreciate you, cuz.
And then over here, man, we had so many I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry. But the last one was, I love this conversation. This is what's needed. So, but this is the goal of trying to create a podcast and a radio show that is the anti-angry podcast, and because it's so much of that. And I am an advocate for balance. Like I tell people all the time, I love hip hop. I loved when Little Kim came out and was free to do her thing, but I also love the balance of people like Raw Digger, who was the exact opposite. She may not be showing as much body in her lyrical so it gave you a choice of, okay, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I could take you know, NWA, but then I also had Tribe Called Quest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
but now it just seems like everything is so monolithic that's being fed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And to where we have to
Yeah.
research the other stuff, and it's not just like red pill or blue pill.
And we
But
got
we're
so
not
many
monolithic
folk therapists
No.
out here, people who ain't never took a psych 101 class in
That's
their
right.
life, but they just because
Yeah,
they
everybody
said
wants your
one
job,
thing,
bro.
Right.
They said one
I
thing,
know.
one thing
Yeah,
that was
right?
profound among their friends, and they're like, "Well, I'm gonna start, going live."
No.
No. Damn it, no.
No,
Okay,
no, no.
leave it to the professionals
No.
because y'all be hooting and hollering on your car, talking to people, and don't know what the hell you're talking about, or you're regurgitating what it is that you've heard from an actual professional.
Yeah.
Let's leave it to the professionals, the ones who's actually gone through and done the work and know what they're talking about. Leave it to them and stop listening to people on TikTok just because they got followers and they just yelling at us. Stop this.
Right.
Yeah,
Stop.
yeah. We definitely want to debunk that. And I'm
say
sorry,
no.
y'all. I done held y'all
Just
past
say
the
no.
time. It's 8:16. But
Okay.
I wanted to
It's actually
touch.
8:20.
It's 8:20?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, it's 8:20. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
But I
have
did
a
want to
curfew.
tap.
I don't have one either.
Right.
I wanted
grown.
to touch base
Right.
with just a little bit of
I'm
next week, where we're talking about just new beginnings,
Yeah.
which is living your best life, a clear mind, with a clear mind and an open heart.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I got a message from my fiance where I don't know if you may have seen it, where it's black men frolicking.
I love
Yeah.
Like now it's just this
that.
thing where
One
just
of my colleagues sent me that.
I love that.
Frolicking man.
Yes.
I love that.
So this is going to be
Yes.
like a frolic situation here, where we
Yes.
just talk about what it's like to have that open and clear mind. Because the one thing I will say is thank you, because the work that you're doing with me, and thank you because the ability to create clarity
You
to
saved
even
lives. I keep telling you.
Well,
that.
we
You saved
both
lives.
save lives.
go. And
I bring you down.
yes,
Get your balance.
yeah. Then go holler at
So
somebody.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you go holler.
And
Mhm.
it has helped me to where now it is a point where it's evident to others. So I was feeling it, but now
Yeah.
other people were like, bruh, the nickname, like I told you, is Zen Ken.
Mhm.
Oh, this is Zen Ken now. I'm like, nah, man, it's just I'm not quick to anger anymore, because I'm in that
Yeah.
restoration part where I see things a lot different, where
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah.
man, just chill out. And a lot of it comes from because without you, a few days,
Right.
what you said, I'll talk with him on Monday
Right.
about that, because
Right.
Yeah.
but I'm gonna take
He
this
gonna-
road.
he gonna work it
Yeah,
out.
I'm gonna take this
Yeah.
road, and we're gonna work it out on Monday.
Mhm.
So I do have the balance of the two,
Mhm.
because like I said, I keep my drops with me to
Mhm.
sustain me throughout the day.
They are on my
And
desk.
When I do need that good sleep, I have been taking more of the Delta 8 to get a good rest, because my mind is running, trying to
Mhm.
close tabs, and like you
Right.
said, trying to
Mhm.
find places to store what I went through for the day.
Mhm.
And so sometimes I need to come down. So
Mhm.
because I need to come down and allow my body and mind to rest,
Mhm.
it's okay to use the CBD products
yes.
to do so. And there's no THC in any of these
Mhm.
products. So
Well, I always
well,
say
it's a
less
little.
than 0.3 THC,
Right.
because there's
Yeah.
no plant.
Yeah,
You know,
you can
the-
pass a
the-
drug
The
test.
hemp plant.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The hemp plant, yes, is
And-
99.7%
Yes.
CBD.
And there's a whole thing
I
here,
mean-
y'all. So for example, muscle tension for
Mhm.
me,
Oh,
because
God,
everything
yeah.
is in my shoulders and my back.
Mhm.
I use the roll-ons and I use the salve.
Yeah.
And there's also a lotion as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, there is.
So you can create your own dynamic with this. You know what I mean? And a part of the CBD, and the reason why I'm doing these two together, is because for me, especially for those who see a difference and be clapping on here when I tell y'all I didn't knock nobody out,
Mhm.
No.
these two together have been helping me along the way. And I would be honest in saying that if I didn't have both, I wouldn't have the balance, because the CBD allows me to have the clarity to be able to think and say, all right, I need to journal this when I go see
It
James. I need to
does.
start talk about
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
Without it, my mind would still be firing that fire. And for me, I don't have the tools myself to be like, all right, brain, stop. You know what I mean? So go to thehealingconsultant.com
Yeah.
and try, get a blend and figure out what works for you. Everybody is different.
Mhm.
Yes. I mean, I think that's the important thing. For me, it's always been a holistic approach.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Never.
Yeah.
I've always preached this. I will continue to preach this.
Mhm.
Is it's just we are not monolithic. We are not
Mhm.
just one dimension.
Right.
It takes a when what Hillary said, it takes a village.
Mhm.
She's
Mhm.
right. It
Yeah.
takes a
Yeah.
village.
Correct.
For you to get through this thing called life, Prince.
Mhm.
This thing called life.
Because life is it's hard.
Mhm.
And it's kicking my ass. I don't
You
know
gotta
about
get, yeah,
Mhm.
and have a quality of life while
Mhm.
you're doing it,
Right.
Mhm.
and recognize that. And I've always said that it's not monolithic.
Right.
Your life is not that. You don't
Mm-mm.
live that way.
Right.
But you got to get yourself some tools
Mhm.
to get to do it, and not only get through it, but to thrive in it,
Mhm.
And enjoy
to
it.
do it well.
Yes.
I always say, do you, but better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, just whatever that is,
Mhm.
you know. And this, this can start your journey.
Mhm.
This can bring you down
Mhm.
without getting high
Mhm.
and without getting fucked up.
Mhm.
Let's just be honest.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
that's the non-professional part of
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
not have high concentrations
Yes.
of THC.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
you can incorporate
Yes.
the other, the tools,
Absolutely.
the adaptability
So
to
how-
deal with your life.
How would you like to close, sir?
Just a reminder for people that this work takes time.
Mhm.
Do not try to rush to do it.
Mhm.
The challenge of people when they get motivated who are listening to the series, I'm gonna do this,
Mhm.
and the motivation is good, but I want to remind you that transformation takes time
Mhm.
because it's working its way from the inside out,
Mhm.
and took you think about this, if it's taking you 36, 37 years to get to this point,
Mhm.
don't think it's going to take 1 week to unravel it all.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
But it will be well worth it once you're on the other side,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
experiencing that version of yourself that you've never met yet.
Mhm.
It's a game changer.
It is. I gotta believe. I promise you, me and that new dude is shaking hands. Like,
Shaking
man,
hands.
where you been? Kim, anything to close?
We're back at this tomorrow. Yeah.
So yeah, I told y'all Thursday that we were going to have the lawyer. She is going to be next Thursday because she has a case that came up that she has to be in court.
Okay.
So she said next Thursday she'll be free to handle our questions virtually or in person. Not quite sure, but she will be here. So get your questions ready. If you have questions about divorce rights, custody rights, any of that good stuff, just get ready. So she won't be here tomorrow. So we got to hold it down
Tomorrow's
tomorrow.
just us.
Yeah.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Yeah, tomorrow we got to hold it down by ourselves. But she did say next Thursday she's not leaving us hanging. Next Thursday she'll be here.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. So I want to thank everybody for all your
Yes,
comments because there
thank
was
you.
so many. I am so sorry, guys. I don't know why they won't pop up in here.
Streamer's
Yeah.
tripping.
Okay,
Mhm.
but there was, and hopefully we can get to them. So if there's any specific questions that you have for either one, I'll make sure they get them. And then we will see you tomorrow. And don't forget to make sure you tune in next Wednesday. But you're going on vacation, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Two snaps in a circle.
Yeah.
self-care will be happening.
Hawaii, right?
Self-care.
Self-care.
We talked about
yes.
that.
Self-care
You
will
got
be
to do some
happening.
self-care.
Yes.
Mhm.
It'll be
So
happening all day, every day, 24/7.
so Auntie V won't be with us next week, but that's okay.
Auntie V will be showing up.
But unless
For
you want
herself.
to, go virtual and
And
show
when-
us the good time
For
that you're
herself.
having.
Mhm.
I can't be responsible for what's on air after that time. Can't
God
be
willing,
responsible for that.
we'll be here tomorrow.
Yes.
Everybody have a good night. TDS Radio, our voice, our culture. Peace.